This week on Moms Like Us, Witney Carson opens up about how hard it was to bounce back after baby.
Yes, I was in diapers for a while. It was just way more convenient, honestly.
Plus, Ari Jr. tells us how he dotes on pregnant wife Lauren Burnham.
People will be like, oh, how many weeks are you? And I think they're expecting me to say something around 30. And I'm like, oh, 18. And they're like, oh, wow.
Melissa Gorga reveals what husband Joe really thinks about their daughter dating.
She's a sophomore. I mean, this is when it happens and the sex talk happens. It's just a real life thing.
Then why it took Cameran Eubanks 8 weeks to connect with her baby.
I don't think I had full-fledged postpartum depression. I definitely had some pretty severe baby blues and postpartum anxiety.
We've got that plus so much more on today's Moms Like Us. Hey guys, Christina Garibaldi here with BRIANNE MANZ from Stroller in the City, and welcome to Moms Like Us. Hi BRIANNE, how are you?
Hey Christina, how's it going?
Good. Just another wintry day here in the Northeast.
Another snowstorm.
Yep.
It is insane.
It really is. I know that your kids are on winter break right now.
Yes, the girls are on winter break this week. So we are out at our second home out in Long Island, just trying to make the best of it, not really traveling or doing much.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of family time, but at least we're spread out in a house instead of an apartment.
Totally. How are you keeping them busy, entertained? Are you doing a lot of crafts?
We are actually a lot of arts and crafts, and they're really good chefs in the kitchen. So they love to make like dessert or something like that. So we'll kind of like do those, fun things. But yeah, there's really not much else to do. We went for a walk. We went down to the beach. We took our dog on the sand. I mean, it's freezing.
Right. I know there's only so much you can do.
Exactly.
We're making the most of it.
Exactly. And they're not in school, so it's nice. And there's no schedule. So that's been really nice.
That is nice. All right. Well, let's get to our celeb mom and dad news of the week. We recently sat down with Melissa Gorga to chat about the new season of Real Housewives of New Jersey, which I'm so excited about. But we also chatted with her about being a mom to a teenager who is now dating. Take a look. Has Joe been having a hard time with her having a boyfriend?
Yeah, he just doesn't get it. He just looks at us all cross-eyed, every time we talk about anything with Antonia and a boy, and the fact that she's a sophomore. I mean, this is when it happens and the sex talk happens. It's just a real life thing. And he gasps for air. He can't even say the word. And it's so ridiculous. I'm like, Joe, I don't know what generation or world you think we're living in, but you better bring it together here, because this is not how the world is right now. You walk into a room now, they FaceTime. For me, I used to be I wasn't allowed on the phone with the boy and just talking. Now they're locked in the bedroom. Hey, I'm like, what? It's basically he's in your room when they're on FaceTime,
That's so true. I never even thought of it like that. That is
I'm like, there's a boy in your room. But if you think about it, you know what I mean? So
oh my God,
it's crazy. It's crazy just how the world is now. I remember being scared if they'd call me can I speak to Melissa? My dad would be like, huh? It was just a phone call. They'd have to call your parents and ask to speak with you.
Yeah. Yeah. And your mom would get on the phone and be like, time's up. It's time to get off.
Yeah, you got to hang up the phone. It's okay.
It's
such a different world.
Would you guys say it's harder now parenting teens than it was when they were younger, or is it bigger kids, bigger problems?
Yeah, I do think as they get older, and everyone used to say that to me when I had a bunch of little toddlers, and I was like, this is so hard. Oh my God. They're like, no, just wait. And it's true. Now I'm worried about her all the time. She wants to go to parties. She needs rides. Are you in the car? Do you have your seatbelt on? It's a whole different world. I love that. She said her husband, Joe, gets panic attacks pretty much when he talks about his daughter dating and having the sex talk and things like that. I mean, what's your
imagine?
I know.
We watched her grow up too, which is even crazier that she's dating now, the daughter.
It's so true, because I mean, she's been on the show for 11 seasons and her daughter is now a teenager. So yeah, we've really watched her since almost day one. I mean, what's your biggest advice for parenting teens?
Oh my goodness. I don't know. It's actually hard. It is harder parenting teens than it is a toddler. And I always thought the opposite, but it's not. They go through mood swings, even boys. I'm going through that now with my son. Just try not to take it personally and just try to still build that relationship, because you want them to tell you everything. You don't want them to shut you out. But it's a weird, balance that you have to maintain.
Right. I remember like how nasty I used to be to my mom when I was little, like when I was a teenager. I'm like, I'm dreading what that's going to be like in a few years.
I know, it's scary. It's scary because you're like, wait a second, what is going on? And like my daughter told me the other day, she's like, why are you being so jumpy? I'm like, jumpy? What is that word that you just used? So I was like, I think you're the one who's being jumpy at this point. But
so much to look forward to.
Oh yeah. It is crazy. So next up, Christine Quinn from Netflix's Selling Sunset just confirmed that she's expecting her first baby with husband Christian Richards. Back in August, she told Metro that she would like 2 boys and said, I can't even imagine trying to tame a little Christine. I always wanted 2 little boys just because I'm actually quite a tomboy myself. She also told us in October that she would like to do her own thing after one more season of the Netflix show.
Interesting. So she's like definitely the villain of the show. I don't know if you watch Selling Sunset at all, but I like really can't imagine her having a kid and wanting to keep that character up because, I'm sure that kid's going to watch it back in a few years and be like, damn, mom.
I know. I thought the same thing, but I'm so excited for them.
Yes.
And I hope she has a boy because that's what she's wishing for. So we shall see soon.
We shall see. Yes. I it's so funny. Like when you go in with like your mindset, like, all right, I'm going to have a boy, I'm going to have a girl. And then like it kind of flips on you and you're like, oh wait, I kind of have to change my whole mindset now.
Totally.
Yeah, but she seems to be excited as she should be. So we wish them the best and a smooth pregnancy.
Exactly. Yes.
All right. In other Housewives news, we have Kenya Moore, who opened up about possibly having a baby after 50 on the Carl Watson show. Take a look.
Well, we did IVF because I had a history of being, infertile and just not knowing what could happen. So thank God I do have some options. I have still several embryos that are frozen and being stored. So I nearly died having Brooklyn. And at age 50 next year, I don't think that it would be the wisest thing for me to do. Do I want one more? Yes. The answer is yes. Will I be brave enough to embark on that journey? I'm not sure yet. I'm still trying to decide.
So she wants more kids, but she's not sure how she's going to do it at 50 years old. I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, if she wants to have another baby, go for it. I mean, age shouldn't be a factor in it, I guess. I mean, she had a hard time getting pregnant with her first child. I know she had to go through IVF. So, I mean, maybe she'd have to go through that again. Maybe she's going to take a different avenue, maybe try surrogacy, things like that. Who knows? But, if that's what she wants, she shouldn't stop it just because she's 50.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like 50 is like the new 40 these days,
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree with you. She should totally go for it.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, and she's happy, she's healthy, and she's got a beautiful baby girl too. So I'm sure she just wants to add to her family.
Totally agree.
Nothing wrong with it.
So now on to a subject that many moms face, but so few of us talk about is post-baby blues. But our Get Real moment of the week, we talked to CAMERAN EUBANKS, who got super real about the anxiety motherhood brought for her and why she didn't connect with her baby until 8 weeks in. Take a look at this.
You said you had some anxiety before you got pregnant. Did you have it after you had Palmer, or did you?
Did.
Yeah. What was that kind of?
It got worse. I don't think I had full-fledged postpartum depression. I definitely had some pretty severe baby blues and postpartum anxiety. I did not want to leave her. I could not let her out of my sight. I was constantly worried if something was going to happen to her. She was going to get sick. Yeah, it was bad. And it's hormones. It's totally normal.
Totally. I mean, what kind of advice do you have for new moms that are kind of going through that same thing and, going through that baby blue stage? Because I said it was like the dark days after, like the 3 months after. It's really hard.
Yes. You have to be able to separate yourself and on a logic level, know this is normal. This happens to most women. The ones that it happens to that don't talk about it, they just don't talk about it because they don't want to be stigmatized or seem weak. But I think it's actually more common to feel that way than to not feel that way.
Yeah, no, I spoke to somebody a couple of weeks ago and they're like, they were just had a baby like 8 weeks ago. They're like, everything is great. I'm like, really? Everything is great?
And you know, there's always exceptions to the rule, but it's a lot. It's a shock to your system, especially when you're a first-time mother. Now, I think if I were to have another child, it would probably be a little bit different, only because it wouldn't be such a shock to my system the second time. But I think with first children, for most women, it's extremely hard.
Yeah, totally. And I love what you wrote, because I feel like a lot of women go through this, but they don't talk about it, saying that you didn't feel like you had an instant connection with your baby. And I think a lot of people, because quite honestly, I kind of felt the same way too, because I was like, yeah, no, I definitely did. And I was like waiting for like the tears to come and everything like that. And they did, they came eventually, but it didn't happen right away. And I was like, oh my God, I'm already a terrible mother.
And it makes you feel so guilty because you love that little child, but you're like, who are you? I don't really know you. Like, am I supposed to feel like I know you? So yeah, it's all the things.
Totally. I mean, and then when did that instant connection come for you?
It came I would say maybe 8 weeks. At around 8 weeks, she started to smile at me, and I started to get some sleep. I think the no sleep thing really F's with you. Truly. I mean, it messes up with your brain chemistry. There's a reason why Navy SEALs, they do sleep deprivation as a form of training. I mean, it's, when she started sleeping through the night, everything changed.
Yeah. Did you do like a sleep training method?
I did. I used the Moms on Call method, and oh my God, that was like my baby. And that worked for me. And I tell people in the book, just because that worked for us does not mean it's going to work for you, but their method was on point. On point.
I did sleep training as well, and it saved my life.
So I totally think that, like, you know, a lot of people don't talk about this, because when, you know, you're a new mom, like I think they probably feel a lot of mom guilt. I'm not going to lie, like right off the bat, like maybe I had a connection, but it wasn't like instant, because I was so focused on trying to breastfeed, and like that kind of like consumed me for a few weeks until like I got that like under wraps, I think, or until I started feeling comfortable. I'm like, okay, now I can breathe. Now I can enjoy this a little bit more. So I kind of get where she's coming from.
Absolutely. And I totally went through the same thing with my son too. Mm-hmm. And we talked about this, you know, once before. My mom called and she was like, pack your bags, like you're coming home with me for a week, because I was so sleep deprived and I was like so out of it. I had, you know, a C-section. I wasn't planning on having the C-section. Right. Same thing with breastfeeding, like totally. The nurse basically told me when I was in the hospital, she's like, oh, you're going to have to kind of supplement. So I was so focused on that, because she told me my milk didn't come in. And then I was like, did it come in? Did it not come in? Like, what's going on? And yeah, I felt the same. I felt the same until I like finally like wrapped my head around everything. Then I was like, oh, like I did connect, but I got what she's saying. Like I didn't start enjoying it, I guess. Right?
Exactly. No, totally. And I think that probably happens to a lot of like first time moms too, because you are literally just like thrown to the wolves once the baby comes out. I mean, you can read as much as you want, you can prep as much as you want, but like you really have no idea what to, because I mean, they literally just hand it to you and be like, okay, start breastfeeding. And you're like, wait,
hi.
What? Yeah. Like, wait, come back here, help me. And I remember like calling the nurse like the first night, like every 10 minutes, being like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Right. And then like the baby's crying, and then you're like the baby doesn't go to sleep, and then you're like, is the baby hungry? Is the baby needs to be changed? Like it's there's no handbook for this.
Right.
I know they claim that there is, but there's not.
There's really not. Even like swaddling was stressful. I'm like, I don't even know how to do this. Like it's a lot to think about. So I totally get where she is coming from.
Totally.
All right. Well, next up we have our celeb moms. They're just like us. And Witney Carson from Dancing with the Stars is dealing with a very relatable mom issue.
I mean, what was the most surprising thing about so far about your post-baby body that you weren't expecting?
Let's see. I think just the overall like healing process. Like I think just because I was obviously dilated, I was pushing for so long, and then I had a C-section. I think just everything, it was just slower to recover. Even just walking up the stairs, like I had a hard time, which is just so weird to me. Like my body's used to that extreme push it to the limit, 24 hours a day, all day. And I couldn't even really walk up the stairs. So I think that for me was the most surprising, just like the amount of time it's taken. So, but I was surprised, like my belly went down. I thought it like stayed for a really long time. I just didn't even really know. Obviously I still have a lot of work to do, but yeah.
You look fantastic. I think you look great.
You're-
You know, I love how open and honest that you've been on Instagram about your postpartum journey. And, you know, you said you were in diapers for 2 weeks after Leo was born, which I thought was hysterical because I feel like people don't talk about that.
Oh,
But
I
it's a real
know.
thing.
Well, and that's the thing that that's why I expected it to be so easy, because I was following so many people and knew so many people that were like, oh my gosh, like they looked like just as normal as they did before the baby. And I was like, how is this possible? And then it happens to me and I'm like, okay, I have got to just tell people what is up, because it is not glamorous at all. I mean, for some people, I'm sure, and I hate those people. I'm just kidding. But like for most people, like it's not, it's hard. It's like, you know, you go through a lot of stuff, a lot of crap. And yes, I was in diapers for a while. It was just way more convenient, honestly.
How long were you in them for?
Honestly, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
For sure. Yes, absolutely.
I love how real she keeps it and how open she is about her post-baby body, like glamour.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, did you have to deal with any of that too?
Oh, totally. I mean, like I love how she said, like, you know, she looks on Instagram and these people will bounce back like, you know, 2 weeks after baby and already have like their 6-pack abs back. And she's like, I hate that because it's not real. And it's not like, it's sometimes for people, it takes a really long time, and that's totally okay too. I mean, we've talked about Witney before. She said that she was in diapers for 2 weeks after she gave birth. And, you know, those are real things that happened, and a lot of people don't talk about it.
Absolutely. And that's okay. I feel like I wasn't myself for at least a year after.
Totally.
And I think as you have more kids, it gets a little bit less, but yeah, I didn't really feel like myself, you know?
I totally agree with you. It definitely took like a good year to like being like, okay, I feel like me again. Like obviously you're never the same person that you were before you had a baby, but yes, I felt like, okay, I can breathe now. I'm okay.
Right. Like wearing like clothes that like I used to wear. I was like, oh, okay. I felt like I was in yoga pants for like a year.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, kind of like quarantine right now. Like I haven't put on real pants in a year. So
Right.
It's totally
Exactly.
like that. All right. Well, next up, we had a chance to catch up with Bachelor Nation's ARIE Lyondike Jr. and his wife, Lauren Burnham, recently. And we're leaving you today with their parenting do's and don'ts. Well, thank you so much to all of our guests. And Brianne, thank you so much as well. This is always so much fun.
Thank you, Christina. Enjoy your snow day today.
Thank you. You too. Bye, guys. See you next week.
Bye, guys.
Can you lower the shades? Can you turn the AC up? Can you do this? And I'm like, jeez.
Do or don't let your child cry it out.
15-minute max.
No, 10.
Well, yeah.
We don't really.
We don't
do
let her
that.
cry that long. But sometimes if we know she's tired and she needs to cry, she can have a good cry.
Do or don't give in to your kids when they have a temper tantrum.
Don't. No.
I like to use the distracting with other things. Like if she's having temper tantrum because she wants like a lollipop, I'll like give her something else.
Yeah.
Try to like shift the focus.
Divert.
Always divert.
Have you noticed, even though she's not 2 yet, but she's starting to get into like those terrible 2 tantrums yet?
Oh yeah.
Especially at mealtime.
Yeah.
She just takes the whole tray and
Throws it.
throws it on the ground. I'm like, cool.
It's the worst.
Yeah, we've had to start throwing parties whenever she takes a scoop of food and puts it in her
Just
mouth.
clap and like
People would think we were crazy if they saw us at dinner time.
Do or don't drink a bottle of wine after a long day. Lauren, I know you can't do that now, but before you were pregnant.
I would say don't, because
I
you're
would say
tired
don't
the next day.
because the next day you're gonna pay for it, and she wakes up early.
Yeah.
Do you have any parenting hangover cures, or have you like not even got yourself to that point?
Oof. I've done it like twice and learned from that. So.
I have to say, we used to drink wine, like a crazy amount of wine when we first got together. And now if I have 2 glasses of wine, I'm like, the next day I'm just garbage. So we barely drink anymore.
Do or don't respond to mom shamers.
Sometimes. If it really gets underneath your skin, sometimes you gotta call them out.
Yeah.
Or I gotta come in there and call them out.
I usually try and do it with humor though.
Kill them with kindness.
Yeah.
Is there anything that like really bothered you that somebody said that you remember?
No.
I only remember this one specific thing right now because this girl keeps commenting on every single picture and story I post, and the twins account, Alessi's account, Ari's account, telling me that I'm huge. Like, I see you.
Do or don't show PDA in front of your kids.
Do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does she, like, I know my daughter now, whenever my husband and I hug, she'll like run up and say no. It's like she gets very jealous that he's hugging me. Is Alessi like that at all?
She gets jealous when we talk to each other or hug each other. Yeah.
Yeah.
She always wants to be in the middle.
If we're trying to have a conversation at dinner and just talk like normal, she'll just butt in and start like making noise. We have to
she'll be
focus
like,
on her.
"Wow, wow, wow, wow." I'm like, what are you doing?
That's so funny. What words is she saying now? Is she starting to like get a big vocabulary?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
She basically is parroting everything we're saying now.
Yeah, she says, kitty, night night. She's always saying, gotta go night night.
Gotta go night night.
Or what's another one? Oh, I fell.
I fell.
I'm scared.
I'm scared. That's a cute one. Apple, new favorite word.
Apple.
She's really getting into just copying whatever you're saying, but now she's like connecting the things, which is really cool. So she's getting
she
it.
says a lot.
I feel like in like a month she will have full-blown conversations with you.
Do or don't pull the pregnancy card so Ari can do all the work.
I do that.
Oh yeah.
I do.
If I say what, she'll just ask me to do like 1,000 things before we go to bed. Can you lower the shades? Can you turn the AC up? Can you do this? And I'm like, jeez.
I'm like, it's so hard for me to get in and out of bed.
Like, I'm pregnant. I'm like, okay.